Hey guys, this is Desert Admiral coming to you live from the control room of my desert submarine here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's been a little bit since I've been on. The submarine, the desert submarine here, has been submerged for a little bit. We've been doing some clandestine ops here in and around the Las Vegas area, but we have come back up to periscope depth. We're going to do a few transmissions here. The first one here is to talk more about the tournament. And I've decided to modify or change some of my victory conditions and then some tiebreakers for win-loss for the tournament. And I want to just try and put my flavor on this to see how well this goes. And primarily what I'm trying to do is to get a little bit closer to out-of-the-box win-loss criteria. And then I'm going to throw in some tiebreakers to go along with that. And along the way, what I really want players and teams to do at the tournament is to win. I want them to try and beat their opponents really as much as possible. So that there is no incentive for a team to let their opponents grab a point or two. And so I really think that this will do this. I've talked to a few people and got their opinions on this. So without further ado, let's get into it. I have posted all this on the events section of axisandallies.org under the Desert Showdown link, which is sticky near the top of the list. So if you have any questions, please go up there or go to that. I've also posted on there the folks who have mentioned that they'll be coming. And then also for those people who have mentioned they've come, I did go a couple weeks ago to one of the organizing sessions for MeepleCon, and there's a total of 600 registrations available, and over a third of them right now at this point have been taken up. So I urge you to go ahead and go to just search MeepleCon 2018 and go and sign up. I think for 3 days at this point it is $50. Once you have signed up, go ahead and send me an email at desertadmiral@gmail.com. Also, if you look on the events tab where this is updated, you can see my contact information as well. So, what are the revised rules? Here they are. Allied and Axis victories, first of all. An Allied victory is accomplished one of two ways: by capturing Tokyo and holding through the end of the round, or capturing Berlin and holding through the end of the round. Now, that's a little bit modified from the out-of-box rules, because I think that the out-of-box rules say that you have to capture Berlin, Tokyo, and Rome and hold through the end of the following round. Now, I know that most of the times capturing Berlin is going to be very, very hard, so I realize that's a very hard one to do. And also capturing Tokyo is going to be a very hard one to do as well. I'll go over the Axis and then talk about this a little bit more. So Axis victory, and this is out of the box, is to control 8 victory cities on the European map and hold through the end of that round, or to control 6 victory cities on the Pacific map and hold through the end of that round. That's out of box. The only difference is that this is to hold through the end of the round versus hold through the end of the following round. I hold from the beginning of a turn to the end of the turn. Primarily this is done because we are going to be limited to 9 rounds. So if someone does accomplish this in 9 rounds, or a team accomplishes this in 9 rounds, they will go ahead and win at that point without having to go through there. I have some tiebreakers, which we'll talk about in a second. I realize that it's going to be difficult for the Allies to win some of these games. But if the Allies can merely hold and prevent the Axis powers from winning, that is going to be, in essence, a victory for the Allies, especially given some of these not these tiebreakers that I'm going to go ahead and talk to you here in a second. So the tiebreakers are this: capitals and victory cities. So a team will earn 3 points for capturing a capital and 1 point for capturing a victory city. A team adds up the total points for the capitals and victory cities that they own at the end of round 9. They then, here's the key part of my evil thoughts as far as my tournament, they then subtract the points for the capitals and victory cities their opponents own at the end of round 9. So there is no, hey, I'll let you capture this or I'll let you capture that. So, for example, if we decide to kind of swap, actually, I think a good example of this is that, a lot of times you'll take a look and maybe Germany will go sea line and they'll capture London. Well, if they don't hold London through the end of round 9, say they capture it and then the Americans come back and then they liberate it, or by some strange imagination or whatever, England itself comes back and liberates itself, Germany gets no credit for that. Now, of course, they'll get a lot of money, but they won't get credit for capturing London. Also, in tournament play, there sometimes, depending on the rules, can be this incentive to go ahead and pump as much as you can to capture London or Sea Lion, which is very, very difficult to prevent if you're England, if Germany's pumping everything it can into that. As opposed to saying, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn and do the long, hard slog through Russia, through all that snow and all that, and hope that my tanks don't get bogged down, that my men's winter coats hold up, and they don't get turned back. So if we take a look at it, there's a couple victory cities, of course, that you can get along the way for Russia if you move in. Obviously, Leningrad's one, and Stalingrad's another. So if you decide to push on into Russia and you capture Leningrad and Stalingrad, that's 2 points. If you capture the capital, that's another 3 points. Now, Moscow, of course, is a victory city, but you don't get credit. You only get credit for the capital. You don't get credit for the victory city also. So if you took Russia, that's 5 points total for that first tiebreaker. And then, like I said, the thing I like about it also is that, hey, all teams are incentivized to go out there and crush their enemies. The second tiebreaker is just purely what your pay is in that final round. Each country's paying that final round. So you take the income, the IPC income on the tracker, you add the appropriate bonuses like you would, and then you get paid. And you go ahead and just log your pay. And then what happens after both games, you take all of the, for the tiebreaker, you take the capitals and victory city points, you add those together. That goes for the first tiebreaker. And then you take all of your IPC pay and bonuses as the second tiebreaker. So I think that this is a good system. At least I hope so. And this really incentivizes folks to go out there and to crush their enemy, as the goal is in any war. Also, I think, as Conan the Barbarian says, what is good in life? To crush your enemy, see him driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of his women. So yeah, I know that some of the you know, some folks might think and say, well, hey, this might be balanced more toward the Axis powers. It might be harder for the Allies to win. But the way it would work is this. Let's say there's a game and there's two teams that are playing. And the first team, you know, one team is obviously the Axis and one team is the Allies. Well, if the Axis win, they win, of course, and then the other team loses. So the first team is now 1-0 as far as their record goes, and the second team is 0-1. And then, of course, on the next day, they'll swap and play different teams. But it would be a lot different now if, of course, the Axis powers don't win. Suddenly, if the Axis powers don't win, the Allies don't have a loss. And so they would be 0-0 at this point, and also would be their opponents. So then when they swap the next days, there's going to be a fair amount of variation. And I realize that this system I put in will probably result in a fair amount of course, there'll be some teams that do win both as Axis and Allies powers if they have a good game plan, and might be 2-0. There'll probably be a lot of 1-1s, and there'll be some 0-0s. But I still think that this is going to be good. It's kind of like a soccer match. If you go 0-0, you've had a long, hard-fought war. And then we will end up coming down to the tie breaks quite a bit, and that's perfectly fine. So once again, the game at that point becomes for how many capitals, enemy capitals did you capture, and of course how many of your own that you own, because you'll subtract those other ones off in the victory cities, and then also the IPC and bonus. So there'll be a couple different ways that you can win if the pure win-loss doesn't go your way. Also, I've mentioned a couple times, but I'll just kind of go over it again, that we are going to have 9 rounds. I've had some folks ask, actually just recently there was a guy named Ram who's going to be playing with a partner, who asked what are the hours going to be. So we're going to play 9 rounds, and each day the tournament will start at 10 o'clock. That's when MeepleCon opens. I will be talking to some of the folks to see maybe if we can start at 9 o'clock in the morning, so that maybe we're not playing so late and we can have a nice dinner together and some fellowship along with that. Also, just kind of as a kind of a point, once your day is done, you must set the board back up that you just played on for the next teams, whether you're staying at your own board and own table or vice versa, so that we then can kind of get started the next day on time and get going that way. Also, I know that not everybody can probably stay all 3 days, but every team will have that option to stay all 3 days, because not only there will be a medal round for the top 4 teams, but every team can play. So what will happen is just 1 and 2 will play against each other, 3 and 4 will play, 5 and 6, 7, 8, da 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 da. So we can all have a very nice set of games for all 3 days. Obviously, if you don't want to play, and this happened at Grasshopper's tournament, if there's a team that can't stay for that 3rd day, then all the other teams get just bumped up one more level, and then go and play for that. So yeah, we're starting to get some more folks signing up. As I mentioned, looking forward to it. Hey, we're about to come around in the new year, which means that there's only about 3 months away. So a good number of folks are starting to sign up. Also, it's been reported that we're going to have our first female player. Actually, the first female player that I've ever seen play Axis and Allies actually play with us as well. So please go online, take a look at the events. I'll be I've updated some of it. Probably do some more updates here in the next day or so to make sure that the website on the events tab under accessandallies.org is good. A couple more things to take a look at. Recently, my gaming group here in Las Vegas, my Desert Posse, that was my team's name, mine and Surprise Attacks for the tournament, but I'm going to borrow that, and that's what our gaming group is going to be, the Desert Posse here in Las Vegas. We've been adding some new members, so that's been fun. And I've been trying a couple of the other variants out there. And in in some upcoming videos, I will go ahead and set those variants up and then just kind of show them to you, talk about them, and then as my group plays them again, maybe do some end of round things like we've seen on some other folks' YouTube channels. So the two main ones, the Oz Tees 1941 setup is a lot of fun. For those who don't know about these or haven't played them, what it is it's meant to advance the game a little bit farther forward. You know, so that it's not round 1 in essence, it's round 2 or round 3 or round 4, so that the Allies get in the game and different things have happened. So I really enjoy playing Oz Tees. I also played Larry Harris's 1942 setup. I actually played that with Gargantua when I was up in Canada, and we played that down here as well. That's fun also because right out of the gate, man, you know, America gets to attack and Russia gets to attack, so, you know, no more deciding. The only bad thing, and, you know, I'll talk more about this, but the only bad thing is it does take out some of the different nuances and options that Japan has, and also some of the options that Germany has. If you're someone that likes to J1 or J2 or even, you know, J3, or any of your G variants, G2, which a lot of times it's common for the German player to invade Russia on turn 2 or on turn 3. So I look forward to doing that. Also, I'm very happy that my total number of subscribers are over 20. I know that I think Sired Bloods went over 500 and he's celebrating that, but mine's over 20. I don't know if I can really say it's really over 20 because 2 of them are my nephews who subscribed and commented, and I think one of them is actually me. So, but yeah, it's still a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying this. I do plan on doing another session or two, another video or two on actually the metal ships and some of the painting things I've learned, and showing some of those other ships a little bit closer and more in detail, and kind of going through them. There's a couple different ships websites. I listed one of them per someone's request on one of these videos. So yeah, look for those. Please go on accessandallies.org, and I look forward to seeing you guys around. Have a great night. Bye.